All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar today. It's Wednesday, November 20th. We are talking about Google LSAs today. I'm going to give you guys a minute or two to trickle in here. And while you are coming in, I would love for you to put in the chat where you're coming from and what vertical you are in. This will be helpful for us, just kind of giving examples and just, catering it to your particular industry or niche. So put that in the chat and I'll give us a minute or two and then we'll get kicked off with the agenda and I'll get everybody introduced and we'll get it going. We've got Joshua, he's from Ontario. Windows and Doors, love it.
Ooh.
Great to see you, Josh, or Joshua. Gave you a nickname. I don't know if that's if you go by that. We've got Windows and Siding, Southeastern US, Lansing, Michigan, basement waterproofing, Jeffrey, Maryland, HVAC and plumbing. Jean is in Michigan. Got a lot of people here. I got another Ontario. This is great. Excited to have you guys all here and excited to learn more about Google LSA. I know this is a pretty hot topic for you guys, so hopefully we can give you some intel. More people from Michigan, Minnesota, Sacramento, Windows, Roofing, Siding, Kitchen, and Bath. William Leary, you guys do it all. Indiana, Indy Roof and Restoration. Yes, there will be a recording to this webinar. We send it out after the webinar. And we also you'll get an automated email that sends the recording, and then we'll also be sending you a blog post recap that just kind of wraps it up into some more digestible tidbits. All right, I'll give us another, 30 seconds, and then we'll get started. Again, if you're just joining, people are just sharing where they are from and what their niche or their vertical is. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to kick us off. So my name is Kristen. I'm the head of marketing here at Hatch. I am going to quickly take about 30 seconds to tell you guys about Hatch, and then I'm going to let our speakers introduce themselves. So Hatch is AI CSRs for contact centers. In a nutshell, we have automated messages. So you set up campaigns that have automated messaging that goes out across your funnel. So whether that's reaching out to a new lead, following up on an estimate, appointment confirmations, or reaching back out to aged leads, that is your kind of automated campaign. And then you have an AI bot that once somebody responds to your campaign, that AI bot can kind of be your first responder and qualify the lead, ask the questions, do kind of all that, kind of like the rinse and repeat questions. And then when it's time to pass off to a human, they pass it off. So that is in a nutshell kind of what Hatch does. We are an AI platform for CSRs and contact centers. And now I'm going to pass it off to our speakers to introduce themselves. So Sam.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Sam Preston. I'm the CEO of Service Scalers. We are a home service marketing agency where we turn high quality leads into paying customers. We focus on all things search. So think LSA, Google Ads, SEO, G&B to a beautiful high converting website. Ultimately want to drive as many leads to you as possible so that you can go grow your business.
Love it. Glad to have you here, Sam, and excited to get some Google LSA insights from you.
Let's do it.
And then Chelsea, if you guys were on the webinar last week, Chelsea was here with us. New topic today, but Chelsea, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
Yeah, my name's Chelsea. I'm with Point Loma Electric and Plumbing. We're in San Diego, California. I'm the call center and customer service supervisor. I'm just here we use Hatch AI and just answer questions.
Love it. Yeah, we had Chelsea on last week. She talked particularly about using Hatch AI. This week, we knew that Chelsea and her company Point Loma, they were really excited about the Google LSA integration with Hatch. So we are encouraging everybody to ask questions in the chat. We will address them if they're particularly relevant to what we're talking about. We'll answer them as you ask them. Otherwise, if you see your question disappear, it's because I've moved it to our Q&A tab, and we will get to that at the end of the webinar. But we also have Chelsea on here because we thought it would be good to have an actual Google LSA user to ask questions on behalf of you guys. So without further ado, I am going. Yes, Chelsea is awesome, Jacqueline. She's great. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that Sam can share his. Or Sam, you might be able to just share it and it might take over. Let's find out. Perfect. And Sam, I think your mic is muted.
There we go. I wanted to save y'all from the squeaky chair.
Yeah.
So what's up, everybody? The goal here is to go over basic stuff, but then actually have a little bit more of a strategic conversation around LSA, and try to give you as much information as possible. Again, I'm going to skim the basics, but most of the basics you can find on just like a quick YouTube video. And so I'm going to give you the things that the YouTube video doesn't give you. Like, hey, like what kind of budget should I be setting to get out there in the market? Let's talk about like strategy on how many locations should I be targeting, things like that. But before I can get into that, I do want to cover just a couple of basics. And the number one thing is understanding that not all leads are equal. And the thing that makes LSA so special is that it's a pay per lead model. Right? Where like Google Ads is pay per click. I'm going to pay $1 every single time somebody clicks my ad, comes to my website, and we want to make sure we get enough clicks to generate enough conversions, right? Or even like the mailer model. I'm just going to pay for hitting a certain number of houses in hopes that that generates leads. And those are both good models, definitely do that. But the thing that makes LSA special is you don't pay for it until it becomes a lead. And if it's spam, if it's not good, we can dispute it. And so we're really just paying for people that are already looking for our services in our local area. And so this is why I think everyone should be doing LSA. I think there's some caveats on maybe you shouldn't be doing it if in a certain area it's too competitive, too pricey, or if you're really, really small. I think there might be some strategies that could be more beneficial. But in general, I think everybody in the home service business should be putting some sort of money towards LSA. Maybe I'm the biased marketer who just wants your money, but I think this is the way to go. So what is LSA? Stands for Local Service Ads. It's Google's guarantee. Google is going to guarantee your work in order for you to show up at the top. And so let me just show you what that even looks like. Can you see my screen still? There we go. Okay. I wanted to make sure that that was showing up. So some of you right here, because I just went through and found like some of your companies and what area you're in, and I found 4 of them. Someone over here in Google is looking for flooring companies in Keene, New Hampshire, right? This right here, this very top thing says sponsored. This is an LSA ad, right? Come over here, HVAC company Chicago, right at the very, very top, you got LSA. Underneath this, you have map pack and SEO, but this very top one is LSA. Window replacements, Shikopi. I do not get paid to say locations correctly. Window installers, this first top one up here, again, LSA. Roofing companies, Indianapolis, got that one right, pretty sure. Again, LSA is very at the top. Right underneath this, you can see a PPC ad. So again, what makes LSA so special is that it's at the very top. If you want to get in front of your audience, the people that are searching for your service in your location, this is the first place we want to go attack is LSA. And you can see there's a bunch of these people right here. But one thing I want to point out here that's super interesting is you got to see many 5-star reviews this person has, 1,700, big time. Like they're doing really good. Right underneath them is 146. Right underneath them is almost 2,000. How come these two are showing up above this one? That's a little sneak peek. We'll talk about that later. I want to point that out. That's a big deal. Cool. Coming back to here. So it is the pay per me model. I do think pretty much everybody that's doing at least 30K a month should be doing LSA reviews. So the first thing when you're getting into this model is do some discovery and competitor research. A lot of different places you can do this, but the easiest one is what I just showed you. Go to Google, search for your service in that location, right? And then click this more roofers button, or down here, this one says show more. And so what this does is you can come down here and click it one more time, and it's going to show you all these companies. So if I'm a roofing company and I want to get into Indianapolis, right? So I'm going to choose that. You might be able to choose go a little bit more niche on what type of roofing. Maybe you don't do gutter repair, but you do like roof inspections or roof repair. You can get that granular. But what I want to do is I want to click on this listing, and I want to check out what they're doing. So from a time frame, they're open from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Right? That's the time. Set the weekends only 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So that's just a time frame. You will have to set a time. Make sure if you are setting a time frame that you actually can receive calls and messages. The worst thing that you can do is say I'm open all day and not respond to messages and phone calls. That's a no-no. That'll get you in trouble. But then you can check out services here. See all these services that they're doing? So if I'm a roofing company I want to get into here, I can do one of two things. One is I can copy them. Hey, these are the services they're doing. They're obviously winning at it. I want to go win as well. Option two is I can go, oh, look, they're not doing, I don't know, they have gutter repair, but let's just say they weren't doing gutter repair. They weren't doing some kind of service you do. Maybe that's the only one you go after. Put all your budget behind it so that you can start ranking inside of LSA. Because part of what's going to work with LSA is momentum and activity. And we'll get to that in a moment. But the two strategies here is find something nobody else is doing and go all in, or find what people are already doing and do that as well, because they're obviously having success there. Now let's talk reviews. And I'm going to get into this a little bit more, but one thing that's super important is you see this Google verified job. This is going to be one of the biggest pieces in being able to outrank other people that have more reviews than you do. LSA is a review-based system. Remember, Google is going to give you jobs and they're going to guarantee your work. The only way they're going to keep doing that is if they can see you get 5-star reviews consistently. So it's super important that you can. And so it's super important that you get reviews. You have a link that you can send people. It's your same as your GMB link. Send that link. Make sure you get reviews. But then also there's a good way and the most effective way to get verified reviews. Again, I'm going to talk about that in a second. I just want to show you. And the last one is photos. See how they've uploaded a lot of photos? That's a good thing. Make sure you're doing this. This is a good activity to be doing consistently. Don't do it all at once. Do it, one a day, one every 2 days, couple every other couple days.
Yeah, I remember seeing a stat somewhere a while back that businesses that have photos in their Google business profile get it's something like 700% more phone calls or directions requests and things like that. So, pictures, they go a long way.
They do. Nick, is this you? I'm really just auditing you? I hope I am. This is so cool. I think someone who's on it is actually going against. So yeah, you can even see that you guys, Nick, are actually crushing some of the, this bone dry roofing that has more reviews than you. And that's because you have more verified reviews. That's how you do it. To do more of that.
And what exactly are you going to get into what verified reviews are, or is that just the reviews you get when you are running LSAs, or how does that work?
Basically, it's it's so stupid. It's a nebulous answer that I'm going to give you, but it's going to sound so good. Verified reviews are the reviews that Google can verify that actually came in from LSA.
Okay, yeah.
So how do you do that? The best way is, I know I'm skipping through it, but the best way is to actually get inside your account and click the review section and then go get a review from there. So if I pull up this account real quick and I go to reviews, right? So here, go to reviews, right? So here, you can go to ask reviews. All these people need to be asked for a review. clicking this button after a job has been completed successfully to go get a review is the way you go get those verified reviews. It's not the most effective way to get a review. Someone on site just saying, hey, look us up, or here's the link. It didn't change. My bad. Hold on. Don't hate me. There we go. Is that better?
Yeah, that makes more sense now.
There we go. Thanks, Ashley. Okay, so if you go here, go down to reviews right here, and then you'll come to this screen, go to ask for reviews, and then click the ask for a review. There you go.
So it's through the Google LSA platform.
Yes.
That's how you get. Okay, got it.
This is the best option you have, because they're going to get this. And then if they go and leave you a review, that's the best way to get reviews. The problem is it's one of the least likely ways that they will actually go do it, but you have still do it. So always ask for a review after a job is done and completed. Yeah.
Got it.
Cool. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, going back. How do I go back?
Can you hear me?
Oh.
Yes, we can hear you, Chelsea.
Sorry. I had a quick question and then I realized my headset was muted.
Go for it.
On that, so for our company, we have our reviews linked in through Service Titan. When they're verified in Service Titan as Google reviews, is that cross-communicating with LSA, or is that something we should still manually be adjusting within LSA itself?
I think if you ask Service Titan, they would say that they're cross-communicating. I don't think so. So as an agency, what I tell my team is to still go ask for reviews here. Because again, Google has to figure out how to connect those two. It may work, but you might be making it harder for it. So if it's me, I'm pushing it through the LSA system.
Perfect. Yeah, I think I'm agreeing with you, and we're going to start transitioning to that already, because that has been something with our LSA account, and we have a lot of reviews. We get consistent reviews. They're getting linked in, Service Titan and showing up places for us, but we will notice our spot will drop or move, and haven't quite figured out why it's not seeming to reflect correctly, and that might maybe there's a delay with Service Titan updating it, because they did say that was something on the timing of it. We're very fast responses, we get our reviews quickly, but it doesn't seem to be actually reflecting the accurate response time and review rates. So probably yeah.
Yeah. And if you're a little bit of a bigger company and you have a bunch of reviews coming through, I think you're in an okay spot to let that time delay. If you're smaller, you cannot wait. I've seen accounts that are spending 10 grand a month because they're having a lot of success getting leads, but they're not actively managing those reviews, go down to being able to only spend like $100 a month or like $200. Like they don't get any more leads. And they come to me and they're like, hey, Sam, come fix this. And I'm like, well, I can do all the magic I want, but if you're not getting reviews and you're not setting this up, you're in trouble. So when LSA is phenomenal, but the core piece of that being successful is you getting reviews. And so make sure you're doing that.
So just to recap, because I know some people still had some questions, and maybe you're going to get, maybe we're jumping ahead, but while we're here, you're saying that instead of just sharing the regular link to leave a review, you have to basically take the link from the Google LSA platform. And that has a different, when you ask somebody to leave a review, a customer to leave a review, is that a different link if you ask through the Google LSA platform versus through Google My Business?
No, so same link.
Okay, same link.
So Autumn has a question that says, is Google My Business LSA separate for reviews? And it's not. It's the same. 2 months ago, it was 2 different links. Now it's the same link.
Okay.
But to answer your question, I think getting a review is more important than getting a specific review. So if your tech is on site asking them to use a QR code to go leave a review immediately, and they can get this $5 Starbucks gift card if they leave it right now. Get that review. That's way more important. The thing that's going to make the biggest impact, if you can choose which review you get, is a verified. No matter if you get a good review from them or not, or a review, I would still, after a closed won deal, go click this link to go ask for a review. Because if they leave it this way, it has a bigger effect. But not getting a 5-star review, like skipping letting your tech ask for a review to hopes that you get this review, I think is a mistake. Does that make sense? Anybody have questions on that? I can be more clear.
It makes somewhat sense to me, but I will let the audience let us know if they have any questions on that. And
Yeah. Matt has a question around like, hey, if I get an LSA link, will this push to my GMB or Google My Business profile? The answer is yes. They are now the same link. So as long as you get that review, it should connect. Cool. So if you're starting an LSA, or if you're wanting to get more out of your LSA, the first thing I'm doing is I'm doing discovery and competitor research. I'm not only doing the local stuff. I'm going to look up Google Ads Transparency, Facebook Ads Library. I'm going to check out their websites and see what they're doing, and trying to find out as much information as I can. The next is I want to set up for my account for success. The first thing I would do is make sure I get everything verified. And you can do that. Like basically they're going to ask for, your legal docs. Do you have insurance? Things like that. We want to make sure we have all of those things in place and approved. Make sure that you are, make sure you're targeting the right jobs. It's funny to me. I've gotten some clients just over the fact of, they're like, hey, we keep getting bad leads. We don't do plumbing. And it's like, well, you should just turn that job off. Like, here we go. Done. So make sure you're not targeting jobs you don't do. If you don't do gutters, don't bid on that. Next is set up automating bidding. You're not this, a pro marketer. You don't have time to spend all your time auditing these campaigns to do manual bidding. Stick with automated bidding. It's good enough. Yeah. And then set your budget. I like to set budgets 2 to 3 times more than my client wants, which is scary. But I would highly suggest doing that. You're almost never going to spend your entire daily budget. And so if a client comes to me and says, hey, you've got 10 grand this month to spend, I'm going to set the daily as if I was going to spend 30. And then if we start getting closer, obviously monitoring, as long as if we're getting closer to the end of the month and I'm starting to spend too much, I'll pull that daily back to make sure I stay within that 10 grand. But what will happen is you'll have days where there's a lot more search volume. So you show up a lot more and those leads come in, and then you'll have days that are lower search volume. And what you don't want to do is miss out on those high search volume days because you had your budget too low. So set it high. Set a reminder or a schedule where you come check on it once or twice a week for 5 minutes to make sure you're not outspending your budget. And then, if you need to pull it back because you're spending too much, you can do that. Now, with that, I'm going to really encourage you to never pause your account. It's a mistake that I see often. And where people will be, again, people come to me after they've been running their account. It's been going really good, honestly, too good. They get too many leads, so they pause their account. And then 2 weeks later, they go push play, and it takes them, it's just no leads are coming through. And they're like, Sam, what do we do? And I get into the account, I can optimize the basic settings and make sure it's set up perfectly. But generally, it's going to be like, hey, we just got to wait for 6 weeks for this to get back up and running. So my suggestion is if you're getting too many leads and you're drowning leads, which is my favorite way to die, is to just pause it, or not pause it, to lower your budget to a place where you feel comfortable. Maybe it's $100 a week. Maybe it's just a couple, $200, whatever you can do, but just don't pause. Just keep feeding the beast of Google. It's worth it. See if we have any questions. Yes, there will be a recap on this, guys, through the email. So you'll get this. Cool. All right. So next, let's get into constant activity. The next thing is what the big thing we want to see from at least the marketing side, your team, when they're running this, is to see consistent activity inside your account. Google likes to see that you're using the account. They just like, even if you don't do anything, they just want to see that you've done something. And so make sure you're consistently getting reviews. That's huge. I would encourage you to change your budget consistently. So like one day you go in there and you change it to be $10 more, and the next day you change it to be $20 less, and the next day you go back to $10 more, and you just play a game of changing things in there. That's what that's our SOPs for my team, specifically on especially when with my team and my SOPs are like, hey, just get in there and just start changing some stuff. Make sure you're engaging with messages and answering the phone call and marking it as a booked call. The system itself is circular. So Google wants to see that it drove a phone call, you answered and you booked an appointment, and then you closed the job with a 5-star review. And it just wants to see that over and over and over again. And so every single time you answer the phone call, make sure you go mark it booked inside the you can see right here. Make sure you're listening to every phone call that comes through and marking this right here booked. And then making sure that you get that 5-star review on the other side. So one of the things that we do on our side is we try to push information into your CRM. This is admittedly kind of a pain in the butt because it's not straightforward. It's literally manual. There's no easy way to get this information into your account. But like, there's no way for my team to know when a job is closed and done to go get a review unless we've listened to the account, made sure it's marked as book, get it into your CRM, and then get that information back from you. It's a little easier when when I'm telling my team to do it, because it's like, hey, this is like why they pay us, go do this, make sure this happens. For you and your internal team, it's like, it's a lot of like data entry and a lot of work. But this is the surefire way to make sure you get this cycle completed. Disputing. So disputing is something where when you get a lead in and it's not actually that I think is going away, or at least Google has been talking about going away. Basically what this means is a call has come in and it's not relevant to you. You're a roofer and they send you a plumbing call, or you're a roofer in Indianapolis and they send you a roofing company or a call from Chicago, something like that. And so right now, what you can do is go in and dispute. I would encourage you, if you're in a smaller account and you're just getting started, to not dispute. Just let Google waste your money. I know it sucks and it feels personal. But every single time you dispute, you're basically telling Google, I'm cheap and I don't want to spend money. Yeah. So, but I think this is going away. I've got a comment saying, hey, you can't dispute leads. I still have a couple accounts that you can dispute leads on. A lot of them are going away to more of a rating system where you just say, hey, like, this is a good lead, this is a bad lead, and you rate it. And based on the feedback that you're giving Google, they're supposed to optimize and get you better and better leads. I'm a little hesitant on how that's going to go. It may be good. It might be bad. I hope that it's better for us and not just Google. And close one jobs. I think at this point, y'all are probably all tired of me saying go get reviews, but go get some reviews. Ask for reviews on so many different ways. It is the lifeblood of LSA and pretty much your entire account or entire business is built around being able to get reviews. So figure out as many ways as you possibly can. If you weren't able to get it on the front end with a tech, make sure it's an email or a text message. And then if you can't get the review there, make sure 30 days later you're doing a happy call and just saying, hey, we were there 30 days ago. How's everything going? Great. Would love it. Can I get you to give us a review? Great way to upsell into different services. Also a great way to get more reviews. Cool. That's my basic presentation. I hope I talked a lot on strategy and not just basics, and we got some good information. But we can go into Q&A, and I'm happy to pull up anything and get into the nitty gritty and the details. But
yeah, let's do it.
So I did have some questions kind of on what you were just talking about, and I see some messages in the chat too on disputing leads. At least for our account, that's already transitioned over into rating leads and not disputing them. I saw some people saying that rating leads suck and that you're not getting like credits back for them. That is something that's actually been a big difference that we have noticed. Um, Staying pretty on top of our leads in LSA, sending back that feedback, rating them correctly, and then we've been getting higher credits back from Google than we previously were. So when we were disputing before, um, our credit rate back has probably tripled. Um,
Good.
just in actually going through and being really diligent on what leads we should be getting credited for. And I think some of it is just on how you're categorizing that, which options you're choosing. And some of them are not ones that Google's going to give you a credit back for, but some of them they will. So we have seen an uptick in getting accurate credits back from LSA and the ratings. Yeah.
I don't know exactly how Google rolls out. I do know I was in an account the other day that still had the disputing on. And so I think that there's I'm sure it's going to be out here soon. I know a couple months ago they were really moving into the ratings. I've seen similar conversations with like you're saying of, hey, I get good credits back now that I'm categorizing correctly. And I know people that are really frustrated about the amount of credits they're getting and how their CPA has jumped since then. So, it's a little bit of a game, and don't be afraid to push back on Google and get in contact with your customer service rep. I think that's super helpful. That's kind of the SOP, at least for our team, is like, hey, if they're not getting you it back, then you got to go push on Google. And sometimes you have to send on a phone call or a message channel, which kind of sucks. But it's the best way to get that CPA down there.
So there's a bunch of questions coming through the chat that I'm moving over into Q&A. Sam, do you see the Q&A tab on the webinar? Feel free to, chip away at those. They're getting upvoted, so you can just start at the top.
Nice. I was told to add as many services offered to Google LSA as much as possible to boost ranking. Is that correct? I don't think that's correct. Maybe somebody knows something I don't. Maybe you heard that from somebody else, but I have done, again, like the two strategies. One is to go with the services that you do offer, or two, go after ones that people aren't offering as much and just put as much budget in there as possible. The thing that's going to get you boost in ranking is activity and reviews. And so the worst thing that you can do is go after one that's in your market that's so saturated that you can't even rank at all and get nothing out of it, or it just takes too much time. So the biggest thing I could say there is go after things that you actually can service, you can do well, and get a 5-star review. Again, it's worse if you get a 1-star review. So like if you choose a service that you're not actually good at accomplishing and servicing, and you get that review, like that's kind of like setting you back, and that's a lot of time wasted. So I would focus on things that you can do well, and focus on things that are profitable for you, and things that you can go get a 5-star review on.
Great. And then this next one was a question to clarify what we were talking about with those review links. So if you can go back over just what we were talking about earlier, that'd be great, Sam.
Do you mean like which review link you should use?
Yeah, or like what a verified review is, and I think that's what Guadalupe is asking. Where can I get that link?
Cool. Let me see here. I'll share my screen real quick.
Great.
And let's see if we can just do a little more. Okay. So let me just widen this up a little bit just to make sure it takes on that whole. There we go. That's a little bit better. And I can even zoom in just real quick. There we go. Okay. So my guy, Nick, right? He's got this ND roof company right here. And this is his GMB page, right? So if he's going to go get a review, probably the easiest way is to just share this link. This is the easiest way because you can send it over text message. You can turn this into a QR code where your tech is on site and they're linking it so that person can go get a review. If that person is using the same account that they use to, call in for LSA, then chances are Google is going to be able to verify it. It doesn't always work that way, and it's a little bit of a slower route. The best way that you can get a verified review is through LSA review section. So you go here, you go to the reviews, and you'll land on this page. Go to ask for reviews, and then just hit this button. This button will push to the customer to go get a review. It'll probably push via a notification, depending on what apps they have, and a email. That is it's one of the less likely for you to get a review. But when you get that review, it's verified and it's very good. So this is the one we absolutely do want to do. However, it's better to get just a review from your link than to get no review at all. So just go after getting as many reviews as possible, and then make sure you're hitting the ask for review when a close one job is done.
Oh, so that when you click on ask for review, that's like an automated, does that like send something out to that contact?
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then Allie wants to know if instead of pausing your account, can you set a budget of $0?
I mean, that's effectively pausing it. I would just keep feeding the monster. Keep throwing it $10 a day, whatever it is. It's worth feeding.
Cool. Jeffrey, is there a ramp up period after you make a budget adjustment?
If I understand your question already, well, sometimes you'll just go like, hey, I want to add $10,000 a month or $5,000. Where I had a company actually come to me 2 weeks ago. They were like, hey, we want to spend 25 grand from zero. I was like, great, let's do it. There is going to be some time and lead up, specifically if you don't have the reviews to back it up, because Google is putting their name on the line as well. So yeah, sometimes there is, and sometimes there's not. Like I've had accounts that like overnight there's like you're spending 10 grand pretty easily. So it does depend on the competition level and the market you choose.
And Amy R had a similar question. I don't know if there's any. She said, I've been told by LSA reps that changing things back and forth has a negative effect on the account. At the same time, every time I call, I get contradicting information. So I don't know if there are other things that they changed other than budget, but if you can speak to that, Sam.
Yeah, I mean, it's I can't prove to you that activity in the account actually gets you results. I can just tell you that I've seen that type of thing happen where I'm in the account and I'm making changes on a consistent basis. Nothing else really changes except for I've been changing the budget, showing, adding photos and things like that. And suddenly we start getting traction. So it could be nothing, but like that's our process and what we see. And again, Google's never going to give us their algorithm except for the one that leaked earlier this year, but they're never purposely going to give us their algorithm to tell us how to fix it or to perfectly get it done. We have to guess as marketers based on what we see in the market.
Great. And then I'm going to get to Brian's question, but I did see a question in here that I don't see anymore. So I just want to answer that. Somebody asked if the Google LSA integration is live yet for Hatch and Google LSA. And the answer is yes, that is live. We did send an email announcement out about it, but if you still want to know, you can chat me again on here. or you can email me back. My email comes when we do like the webinar recaps. But yes, and for those of you on the call who aren't aware, Hatch has an integration with Google LSA. So if somebody, you can see on Sam's screen here where it says message. So if somebody clicks on message the business, they fill out that form. We have the integration set up so that it'll go into Hatch and Hatch will respond. So you can basically attach a speed to lead campaign to your Google LSA. And there is a step in between there because Google counts response time as it will only count it as a response that comes through the Google LSA platform. So what we have it set up so that it will send an automated thing through the Google LSA platform and then saying, we'll be reaching out to you directly. And then once that happens, they get a message from your business. So if you guys have any questions on that, feel free to put that into the chat as well. Chelsea is using that integration, so she's also happy to answer questions on that.
Which is absolutely insane. Like the fact that you'll have an integration into LSA that automatic, that's mind blowing to me. And I'm so excited about that.
It's great. But to your point, Sam, it's, you've got to make sure that you're responding. So like, you don't want to have it running when you're not able to respond. And another thing, I will just throw a shameless plug in here for Hatch AI. So you put out your ad, you attach it to a speed to lead campaign, a homeowner fills out a form, your business reaches out right away, and then the homeowner gets back to you, and let's say you're not available to respond to that response. That is a common issue. And so what our Hatch AI bots do is they basically are the first responders to campaigns. So let's say it's after hours, or maybe your reps have stepped out for a break. The bot can kind of step in and answer those, keep that conversation and sustain that lead until somebody's able to talk. Chelsea, I know you guys are using Hatch AI for that purpose. Has it been helpful for you with Google LSA in particular, or use cases?
Well, to be perfectly honest, we only get maybe 3 messages a month that are coming in through LSA for us that are a message that we're needing Hatch to respond to.
Yep.
So we have had very minimal customers getting pulled into the campaign for that integration, but it is helpful for us because since it is such a small number, we have 50 plus that we're getting through our LSA on a regular basis, and to only have 2 or 3 of those that are a text message or a message coming in versus a phone call, because the phone calls are getting forwarded into our phone system and we're updating those. But the messages, we are more reliant on email coming through, having to manually check the LSA platform. So for us, it's kind of the opposite of some of our other lead sources where we're utilizing Hatch for the bulk of it. But it is helping us to not miss those occasional messages that might come through for us, because we primarily are more focused on the phone calls coming in through LSA and the reviews and things like that. So Hatch has been really great as an add-on for that. So we have that peace of mind that those messages are going to get answered. But it definitely, for our purpose, where it's a small percentage of our LSA that are going into Hatch.
Yep, that makes sense. I always forget that a lot of those come in through phone. So, okay, cool. Brian wants to know, marking as booked. When I click mark your lead as booked, is it marking that you have a scheduled appointment or that the work is complete?
Good question. That's marking it as a scheduled appointment, like you've booked an appointment.
Great. Hassan wants to know, would you recommend connecting all of our LSA accounts with call tracking tools like CallRail or Invoca?
I wouldn't. And the reason why is because you're double dipping, if you will. So let's say you get a call in from LSA and that pushes out to CallRail. You still have to listen, and then you still have to get that into your CRM. So I would just use the system that's already there. But there's a great tool called Hatch that you should definitely integrate without fail. Do that.
Yes, and sneak peek into the future, guys. We are coming out with voice. So Chelsea mentioned that a lot of their Google LSA leads come in through calls. So we've got voice features coming out, and if you use Service Titan, we also have a new data point, which is abandoned calls. So if you miss a call that comes in, you can do a Hatch campaign that reaches out to them immediately for that. Brian wants to know, isn't Google self-auditing now? I'm not sure what that means. Sam, do you know what that means?
I'm guessing that's on like the marking leads as spam or disputing them and things like that, rating them. Google's job is to spend your money. That's their number one job. Yes, they want to get you leads, but they only want to do that because you're paying them. So I would not trust them to audit your account. You should do that yourself.
Got it. And before I forget, because I did in the last webinar, I'm going to launch a poll. If you are a Hatch customer and you want to talk to somebody about your account, if you are not a Hatch customer and you want to talk to somebody about Hatch, if you are interested in service scalers in Sam's company, we have a poll up. You can choose one or all. And if you raise your hand in the poll, we will reach out to you. We'll make sure to follow up with you and take care of all your questions. So that poll will be up, and I will go back to the Q&A.
Let's do it.
Let's see here. Autumn wants to know, how do you recommend handling leads for a service we do window home installation, but are getting leads for car window repairs?
Yeah. So again, this is the hard part about LSA. So it is that it's a closed system. And so all you can do is your best, which sucks as an answer. But one, make sure you don't have those services checked. Two, when they do come in, make sure that you're giving them a low rating. And three, reach out to Google's call support and say, yo, we don't do car window repair. Why am I getting leads? Go check out these recordings. Whereas like something like PPC is we can actually like bid a cost per click based on the keywords and search terms and things like that. LSA is a little bit more of a closed system in that realm. So those are the three things I would recommend doing to handle.
Great. And somebody had a follow-up question to the Hatch integration. If it double messages, it does not double message. What you get is when the customer fills out the form, it's kind of like an autoresponder that will message back to them that says, thanks for reaching out. We will get in touch with you directly from our business. And then when they, so like they know, it's kind of just like, it's a double text, but it doesn't say the same exact thing. Okay, great. So what else do we have here? We've got
Ruben's asking about how long it take to get verified. This is like my worst nightmare is when you do all the right things and the client's like, hey, I just want to grow and go. Why aren't we verified? I'm like, I've got all this information to Google. I'm just waiting on them. So they're angry at me and I'm angry at Google. Like that happens. And once we get live, we're all good. But like Google is a black box. When you're dealing with them, sometimes it's all about just like reaching out to them daily. So if you've got your account, all the docs in there, set a quick meeting, 15 minutes every day to just reach out to them and say, hey, what's the status of my thing? Here's my ticket number, things like that. It'll help it get through faster. But there are situations where we have all the docs and it takes several weeks before that gets verified. So Ruben, again, I know that it sucks as an answer, but that's what we do when we run into that problem is we're more annoying to Google than just letting it sit.
I did see a question in there that I was curious about as well. Is there an update on when Hatch is going to be able to integrate with more than one LSA account?
That's a great question. I don't know that answer off the top of my head, but let me find out and include that in the webinar recap for you guys.
Yeah, similar. When is Hatch going to let agencies just like use it for all their accounts and just automate this entire thing with AI? Like let's make that happen.
right? Tomorrow. It's on the roadmap. We're doing it tomorrow.
You heard it here, folks.
Yep.
Oh.
All right, Thomas, I don't know if this is a question. This may just be more of a statement. Ever since I've lost the ability to appeal credits myself, my net cost of marketing with LSA has gone from 15 to 30%.
Thomas, I that could be due to the credits. Also, Google has been doing some weird things with their algorithm lately. And so we have seen, like I was just talking to a client the other day whose cost per acquisition has basically halved since working with them, but the search volume being shown up isn't hitting, it has also decreased. So they're not getting as many leads as that they would like. And so some of that, you just got to understand where that problem is. Is it because you're getting more spam calls? Just because you're not showing up in the right services, the right areas, you're getting leads that aren't your service, things like that? Or is it because search volume has decreased? So I would go see if you can figure out like what is the core reason for that. And know that there sometimes we've had situations where like, hey, like this market it really is just becoming more competitive. Have you thought about trying something else? And so LSA, you know, as somebody who sells LSA isn't magic. It is a service and a channel. And you as a home service company need to try to maximize that as much as possible. If it's not working for you, we need to move it on to something else to see if we get something else out of it, whether that's TV, radio, or, and, you know, I really mean this, like, leveraging something like Hatch to get more out of the marketing that you already are. I work with hundreds of accounts, and the clients that reach out more than 12 times always get way more out of their accounts and their leads than the clients that never do. So make sure you have a good follow-up process after you get a lead in to be able to take advantage of all the leads that are coming through. Not to shamelessly plug that, but it is effective.
It's all good. All right, what do we have next? And just so you guys know, we have 10 minutes left. There's a lot more questions here than we'll be able to get to. So what we can do is we can do another webinar on this. So if we don't get to your questions, I'll save these and we can revisit them in the future.
Cool.
Okay, what else do we have? I've seen where the Google Business Profile is the only way to get reviews anymore, even through the LSA platform. Are the reviews not verified anymore through LSA?
So reviews are verified through LSA. Use the LSA account if you can. If not, your GMB and LSA link are now the same link. So just share that one, and that should do the trick.
Cool. Van wants to know, I fell to the bottom of Google LSA ranking and need tips on how to move back up. Is doing what you mentioned here going to help now that we've been bottom ranked? We don't know why, because we have 5-star reviews. Yeah,
Van. I mean, do everything I've said. Constant activity inside the account. Make sure you're uploading photos on a daily basis. Make sure that you are going and getting those reviews when someone calls in, marking up booked. Like, it's all that like really annoying detail stuff that you have to do on a daily basis on your account. And you should be able to work out of that ditch. There could be other things causing that. Make sure you're not pausing. Make sure that you're you're not spreading your budget too thin, right? So don't have a small budget going after 10 different zip codes. You know, have a good budget for the area. And if you want to know what a good budget is, I like to do 10 leads a week. I think that is a fair way to go about it. So just multiply 10 by whatever your cost per acquisition is. So for example, let's say in your area, it's $100 a lead. Then 10 times 100 is 1,000. You should be spending 1,000 a week. I think that that's a fair way to just easy budget for what you should be doing.
Great. Dan also wants to know, do we need to rename pictures with zip and service name before uploading to LSA, or is it okay to upload them as they are?
I haven't seen a tangible difference by changing the alt tag there. I'll say it won't hurt you if you do that. And so I'll say this: if you have somebody in your team that's already doing this type of work, it wouldn't take them very much time to just do this real quick and let them just go at it. If you're spending your time as an owner doing this, it's not worth it.
Got it. Okay, that was a question we answered. Someone else? Does the Hatch LSA integration work if someone else manages our LSA? Sorta Pros use either SCOM or Caputo. Let me find out about that for you, Brian.
I think so. We have clients that use Hatch. And so I think we manage their LSA campaign. And so we don't touch their messages because we know it's taken care of.
Yeah, and I know that we have other customers too who there are contacts associated with the account that are from an agency. So I'm sure that's not a problem, but we can verify that for you, Brian. Ashley wants to know how to subscribe for more webinars. I was forwarded this by a colleague. Ashley, we have a if you go to usehatchapp.com, I think it's /conferences. Let me double check. I'll put a link into the chat for you to see for future webinars and to be able to subscribe. I'll grab that link while we are answering other questions. Okay, we answered Van's question. Christopher wants to know, when defining your service area, is there a benefit to using a specific type like city, state, city, town, zip code, state?
I definitely wouldn't do state. That's unless you really do service everybody in a state. Born and raised in Texas, so like that distance a little big. But maybe you're in a small state and you say, I can do it all. Go for it. Otherwise, I think that you want to come down to more of a county area is probably my preferred, or like city. Zip codes. The problem with zip codes is, again, like you can get too narrow and you're like, yeah, but like I'd be willing to drive 5 more minutes for that. So like I think you want to go a little bit more broader if you can.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a few more questions. I only have 20 reviews with a 4.8 star rating. I have tried LSA for a few months and haven't had much luck. Do I need a minimum number of reviews for LSA to be effective?
Well, my first question is like, what do you mean tried? Like, did you just set it up and put a budget? Or have you been doing the activity that I've been talking about? If you have and it's still not working, then maybe there's something off in the way that you've set it up. Or again, like Google specifically with the way they've been changing their algorithm lately, things have just gotten a little bit messy. And so sometimes there's just like extra love and care needs to be there. And sometimes it's just a patience game, like just be patient and let it keep running. There is no minimum number. I've taken accounts that had literally 0. And now they've got hundreds of reviews and they're crushing it. So 20 reviews at 4.8 stars, you're fine. So I would just keep pushing on it, probably increase your budget to be a little bit more aggressive, and see what else you could do there.
Great. I am just fielding a few more. Let's take a few more questions. Sorry, I was trying to answer a question. No. Can you see any more, Sam, that you can answer?
Well, I'm reading one right now. I'm in another review. If you so Shelby's basically saying, hey, are you double reviewing if you send a link and you ask for a platform review? I'm not too worried about it. Most people, if they've left you a review, isn't going to go, oh, hey, let me take the time out of my day to do that a second time. Like it just doesn't happen that often. In fact, I can't even think of an example that's happened or been an issue. So I've never run into that. Maybe it is. Maybe, Shelby, maybe people just love you so much that they want to give you multiple reviews, and that's an only you problem. But like, I've never had that issue. If if you do, I guess that would be a problem you can work through.
Great. All right. Let's take one more question.
Got one from Thomas. Do you think companies should include the branded aspect of LSA or not? For instance, if you type in company name, it will show your company name as Google guaranteed. If you set up differently from somebody typing in window or roof replacement near me, in my eyes, it seems like you're playing leads. Okay, this is a great question. Thomas, if you get caught using a DBA that isn't your name, you can get your hand slapped. It's usually not an egregious thing. You might get suspended. You can get unsuspended. It's kind of a pain, but like it's not that big of a deal. And so I would go with branded, which is why when I'm naming a company or when I'm talking to people that are like about to start or change their names, I'm always encouraging people to have their city, their service inside their name. Roofing, Chicago pros.com, things like that. Because then it's so easy to use that as an SEO play or LSA, things like that. So I would definitely have branded. If you can also include, all these, companies we've got right here. Window replacement, like Yankee Home Improvement, Nova Home Improvements, like these. So the problem, like you're pointing out, is none of these have window replacement in there. And so I would love, like they have window installers here, but like I definitely want this to say like windows and doors or something. Like at least, this one has glass and shower doors, which not really what they do. But yeah. So again, pretty huge. That's probably a big opportunity here in this market to kind of go after that. And you can probably play that like major home improvements. Like you could probably play the Yankee Home. Like you could probably get away with having a little bit of the search there.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time, Sam and Chelsea. Thank you as well for asking questions and also helping to answer some of them. This has been an awesome webinar. Like I said, we will send out the recording. It'll go out automatically within an hour or so, sometimes a little bit longer. And then we also send out a recap blog post the next day so you can just digest it a little bit better. And it'll have a link to the full recording in there as well. So Sam, Chelsea, thank you guys again so much. And like I also said, we had questions in here that we didn't get to. So we will definitely get another webinar on the book so we can continue answering all your questions. Any further comments, questions, concerns before we sign off?
This has been fun. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.